What's up, light bearers? Welcome to Light Tap, a Vivised podcast. My name is Melissa.
And I'm Emily.
And today we're going to be talking about...
Detours.
Yeah, buddy. How's your week been?
Tiring.
Yes, same
we're
here.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's been kind of like a crazy week with at work and just like personal with my health and stuff. Yeah. Some side effects, but whatever, we're here and we're so excited. I mean, we haven't been consistent, you guys. We want to start off with that with our podcast episodes, but for those who still come through and watch our episodes, thank you so much.
We appreciate y'all.
We appreciate every single one of you guys. If you like what we're wearing, as far as in my hat, which is white, it's a white dad hat, kind of distressed. It says Salt and Light. Or if you like Emily's sweater that's that says Bear Good Fruits on one sleeve, you can find those at shopvividset.com. So si te gusta mi gorra o te gusta el suéter de la Emily, lo puedes encontrar en shopvividset.com. Before we start, as a disclaimer for every single episode, this is just a light tap into the subject. Okay, so if you want like a breakdown, a full-on Bible study de dónde viene esto, de cómo pasó, y all of the details, this is the perfect time to open up your Bibles and do your own homework. So take this as a sign. You needed a sign? Aquí está. All right. So we're going to go ahead and jump in. Emily, today's verse. Emily will read it in English and then I'll read it in Spanish.
Okay. We are reading from Jonah 1-4. The word of the Lord came to Jonah, son of Amittai, to go to the great city of Nineveh and preach against it, because its wickedness has come up before me. But Jonah ran away from the Lord and headed for Tarshish. He went down to Joppa, where he found a ship bound for that port. After paying the fare, he went aboard and sailed for Tarshish to flee from the Lord. Then the Lord sent a great wind on the sea, and such a violent storm arose that the ship threatened to break up. All the sailors were afraid, and each cried out to his own God. And they threw the cargo into the sea to lighten the ship.
Okay. Jonás 1-4. Dice, cierto día un hombre llamado Jonás, hijo de Amittai, recibió un mensaje de parte de Dios. Levántate, ve a la gran ciudad de Nínive y diles que ya he visto los malvados que son. Pero en vez de ir a Nínive, Jonás decidió irse lo más lejos posible, a un lugar donde Dios no pudiera encontrarlo. Llegó al puerto de Jope y encontró un barco que estaba a punto de salir. Pagó su pasaje y se embarcó contento de irse lo más lejos posible de Dios. Cuando ya estaban en el alta mar, Dios mandó un viento muy fuerte que pronto se convirtió en una terrible tempestad. El barco estaba a punto de romperse en pedazos.
First of all, we already know when you make the conscious choice to step away from the Lord, to be like, all right, let me separate myself from you, just real quick, just one quick minute. It never ends up well.
Why are you even trying?
Why even like flirt with the idea? Let me just go my own way.
I mean, yes, we have free will. Don't get us wrong. Like, we have free will. We can do what we want, right? Obviously, in this situation, it's not like God, well, he kind of did go into jail afterwards, but still, like, he had the decision of to like run away, right? And so God gives us free will, and we can decide or not to do what his will is for us. But at the same time, when God has a plan, tiene que llevarse a cabo. Nos guste o no nos guste, y a veces si somos la persona que indicada o la persona que se ha puesto para esa mission, tiene que pasar. But hoy estamos hablando de detours, right? Have your GPS ever rerouted you because you missed the exit o lo que sea?
First of all, the people that know me know I don't look. I've been living here my whole life. Okay, I've never lived anywhere else other than Houston, Texas. I don't know my streets, y'all. I know it's so bad. I only know like the main like highways in my street because that's where I live. But other than that, like I don't know my streets. So unless you give me like landmarks to pinpoint where I am, I can know a city. I can know exactly where I'm going, and I don't need the GPS. But if I'm going somewhere new or somewhere around of the area that I know, I'll know how to get to the area, but I won't know how to get to the place.
Wow.
So there's been a couple times where I'll have to go somewhere new. Like when we first started going to church, because it's so far, I was like, nah, GPS for who knows how long. And I remember the first couple times that we started going, I was like, oh my God, I'm so lost. And my phone died halfway.
Oh my God, that's the worst.
And then I was just like, I know my exit. I know this is where I have to get off. I just have to keep going straight and I'll find it eventually.
Oh Lord. It's funny because I've been in the car with you a couple of times. Where you're using GPS to get around, and all of a sudden, like, it's clear as day that it says like you missed your exit, and it says rerouting, whatever, right? And you're like, it's okay, we'll get there, like, next exit, it's okay, everything is like, it's okay. And I'm like, dude, like, you just added 10 more minutes to our time right now.
It's fine, we'll get there, it's fine.
It's funny, right? Because that happens, like, obviously, like, in our daily living. I mean, come on. I still use GPS to go to work, even though I know the way, but I'm like, maybe something happens, like un accidente, lo que sea, like, I need a shortcut or whatever.
I use it for time management. I know my way to work. I always do. But as soon as I wake up, the first thing I do, I GPS work, and I'm like, how much time do I have before I can, like, actually get out?
But that's tricky, though, because you can literally put it when you wake up, but it's completely different from when you leave the house. But so this happens obviously on our daily living, pero alguna vez te ha pasado como en tu life, como en que, like, tú sabías que Dios tenía como un plan para ti, o quizás no sabes realmente, pero tú tenías como que algo ya planeado, like, I think that my life va a tomar este course, right? And then all of a sudden you made a decision and it rerouted you.
Yeah.
You want to
maybe
talk about this or no? I see you very hesitant right now.
Because I think we all know in this podcast we are very real, and we definitely, talk about our experiences. But some of these experiences we might have to leave them for other podcasts. But
sure.
It's okay.
No,
we can talk about the light ones.
Yeah. No,
I remember. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go.
No, dale,
finish what you were gonna say.
No, porque te miro como que no quieres hablar, so then I'm gonna go ahead and continue.
Go ahead. Tell me, what were you gonna say?
No, nothing. I mean, honestly, like, I have had detours in my life, right? I've had situations where I know that I shouldn't have done something, and it put us behind on a couple of things. For example, it's funny because, Dios mío. It's not even that embarrassing, but it kind of is. So, like, we're in this house, whatever, like, we're living life, and we have 3 vehicles. One is like for an emergency, and then we had two other vehicles. And one of those vehicles was like a good car, and it was already paid off. So we had 2 paid off cars, and then we actually had 2, and we were planning on getting the one that I have now. And so I was like, okay, so only un carro va a ser de pago, y los otros 2 ya están pagados. Well, one day, Oscar and I were talking, and he was like, what if we sell one of the cars?
I remember this.
And I was like, I had some issues with the car mechanically, so también, like, I was like in my feelings, like, I wasn't like thinking with wisdom. And so I was like, yeah, sure, let's sell it. So we sold the car, the good car que teníamos. Solamente nos quedamos con el carrito que lo usamos para trabajar o lo que sea. Like, that's like a really old car. It's only used for work. And like emergencies o lo que sea. And then we got the car that we have now. And now, el carrito, el viejito, obviously, because it's está viejito, nos está dando problemas.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, we should have kept the other car. It would have been, like, so easier to replace, like, este carrito chiquito, or, like, with another older vehicle, because, again, we only use it for work and for, like, cualquier cosa, like a quick little errand, and we could have had 2 good cars to use for like for work or for like andar ahí con la familia, whatever. Pero no. En ese momento nos ganó la emoción o nos ganó whatever that we were like, no, we can make money off of this car, because era nuevo. Era nuevo el carro, y so it was like worth some good chunk of money. And now we regret it porque nos está saliendo más caro.
Yeah.
Now Oscar has to get another car, and we're having to pay whatever
Another note.
No, not even another note. Thank God we're buying it así. Pero lo que costaba o lo que recibimos de pago del otro carro es lo que estamos pagando ahorita por el carro que va a agarrar. And I'm like, dude, like
you could have easily just replaced or fixed the part
it was
from the other
just crazy that I'm like, this was the longest detour of life for us. Y cada vez que nosotros nos ponemos a pensar de este carro, we're like, that's our biggest regret. Like, that's like, why did we do that? Like, why? Like, and we're back at square one. Literal, hicimos like Moses, que like dimos la vuelta alrededor de la montaña para quedar en el mismo spot. And it's just like, that is just one example of like situations in life donde a veces Dios tiene un plan para ti. Dios tiene, eso ya está escrito en la palabra. Él te creó con un propósito, nosotros sabemos eso. You were created with purpose. He has a great plan for your life, a plan to prosper you, and a plan for all the good things to come to you, right? But sometimes, just like Jonah, we make dumb decisions that we think are the best for us in those moments, and they're not. And then they make us go through situations that God did not intend it for our lives, but He's like, ya te montaste en este barco, entonces tienes que aprender esa lección de aquí. Porque todavía el plan que yo tengo para tu vida no se ha cambiado. It's not like because you made a dumb decision, the plan has all of a sudden changed. No, the destination is the same, but now reroute. I'm going to take you through a different exit, through a different street, through a different path, whatever, but you're still going to get to the end goal. And so I feel like a lot of people in the Bible, like, we're not the only ones. We're not out here just being like, like, solo a mí me pasa estas cosas.
Woe is me. Why just me?
Exactly. Like, nada que ver.
Yeah.
We can read like a whole bunch of other stories in the Bible of people that have gone through this situation.
I think I'm just thinking back to like, okay, we talked a little bit about this in the last podcast, right? That I just haven't had the best of luck with cars. And I remember, like, you even told me when the first accident happened.
Yeah.
Because my car has been through a lot. Some accidents that were minor were my fault. Nothing major at all. But the couple times that my car has been hit, I have been literally at home, laying in my bed, asleep twice now. And another time, a family member was taking my car and somebody hit them. 3 times my car has been totaled. And I remember the first time that it got totaled, you told me, why don't you just get rid of it? Just get rid of it and get yourself a new car. And I'm looking at your face because you're like, oh, it's painful to even remember this because it's been totaled 3 times now.
Yeah. Yep.
And the car is sitting in my house.
Tell them your story.
And it's been sitting in my house. And every single time I'm like, no, but I don't have the money. I don't even know if I'm going to get a new car with my credit or like, because I had great credit. And then when everything happened, you know, things happen where you have to pay for other people's mistakes or other people's just problems, right? Which, you know, as a daughter, as a sister, as, you know, cousin, niece, whatever, if I want that responsibility, I will take it.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal to me. But even then I was like, I don't even know if I can get a car by myself.
Yeah.
My first car was like my baby and I got it right out of high school and I couldn't even get it myself. I got it with my dad, which is like something normal that a lot of people do, right?
For sure.
And then so I was so uncertain for all these years. And the car gave me so much trouble. I would be left stranded in the highway. I would have to come somebody start my car, pick me up, whatever.
Yeah.
And I struggled for so many years with this car until one day, lo and behold, the Lord is like, oh, really? You want to keep struggling? Let me help you out. child of mine.
Let me make
let me make it real easy for you.
Yeah.
Since you don't want to make this decision, since you don't want to go into debt, let me make this easy for
mind
you.
Hold up. Let's like every time that has been totaled, you legit spent more money on this car, like getting it fixed all of these times, because remember, it's been like a couple of scenarios that this has happened, right? So every single time you spend what, over 1,000 maybe
each time.
And so then imagínate cuánto dinero hubieras ahorrado if you would have just
gotten a new car
from the beginning.
But I was so stuck because we have
Más
this mentality
aparte,
of like, I don't want to get into debt.
Yes.
I don't want to do this
which
and this and this and this, or I don't have the money for it.
Yeah.
And then when I just got into the idea of like, well, what if I get a car and I don't need a down payment? I don't need to put the money down, or I don't need to have this and this and this done. And then eventually I was like, okay, well, this happened. The car's totaled again for the third time. I woke up, I looked at it, we talked to the police and everything, and I was like, all right, y'all handle that. I'm going and taking my butt back to bed and going to sleep. I'm not going to lose sleep over this. Yeah. Because it was like, I think I texted around 4:30 in the morning.
Yes, you did.
And I was like, I'm going back to sleep. I don't care. It is what it is.
Yeah.
God got me. I'll figure it out in the morning.
You're like, I'm done.
Yep. I went back to bed. I went straight back to sleep.
Yeah.
I woke up. I was like, damn, now I gotta deal with it. And I remember like even going to the dealership and trying to get this new car. I was like, part of me was like, okay, I was like 60% sure that I could get it by myself.
Yeah.
And 40% sure that I would have needed a co-signer. But I was like, I'm not betting on that. I'm betting on the 60%. But I was definitely thinking like, here I am. I'm gonna use all the money that I have saved up. And I didn't. I used like maybe a percentage or whatever, but I was like, man, like even the percentage that I used no se compara a todo el dinero que yo gasté arreglando el carro. Literally, the little bit of money that I used.
Not even like every time that it got totaled, even when it's totaled, your car still had mechanical issues.
Exactly, because
that
of everything.
You still had to fix durante el año, de que te dejaba stranded in the middle of the road somewhere, and you had to like pay somebody to come and whatever, or like having to just figure it out. And you had like this different way, like to put a seatbelt on, you had to like push the like, so there was
knows the most because she has had to deal with the seatbelt. And she's like, why is it not clicking? I'm not about to ride if I can't click in the seatbelt.
Also, all the pain and suffering that you had to endure, even like through the years. Más aparte el dinero que ponías, like to get it somewhat, not even fixed, but like
just
que me lleves from A to B. Like, that's it.
And so, I look back and I'm like, I literally just spent all these years putting myself in this position when I could have just taken myself out of this equation and be like, let me do something about it instead of just trying to patch it with a band-aid instead of getting treatment. You know what I mean? Like, I know that's bad. That's a bad wound. I know it's getting infected, but I'll just put a band-aid on it instead of taking some medicine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was one of the biggest detours in my life that I can definitely say right now. It was not necessary.
Yeah.
If I would have just done this sooner, I would have probably had my new car paid off by now.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, actually. Yes.
That was a murderous look. Yes.
Yes. I told you from the beginning. But it's okay. You know, sometimes you have to learn your lessons. And I think that even like with Jonah in this situation, he had to learn his lesson, right? A veces, I had like a really cute being sarcastic way of thinking as I was growing up. And it was like, yo le dije a mi mom, like, okay, yo sé que tú me estás dando los consejos, gracias, pero yo quiero hacer lo que yo quiera, y si le doy en la cara, allí voy a aprender. No por lo que tú me dijiste, no por los warning signs, pero yo quiero aprender like my own way. Qué manera más tonta de pensar. Pero like it's a lot of teenagers,
a lot of teenagers think
even
like
like young adults, we think like that, right? We're like, no, we're grown, we're over 18. Oh, I'm a grown woman, I'm a grown man, I can make my own decisions, I don't need mommy and papi to tell me anything anymore. Igual yo me voy, if something happens, then it's on me, right? But sometimes it's like, yo dude, like you had people to warn you, to tell you, like, no vayas por ahí. No pongas tu mano en don't play with fire. Y tú todavía...
You still went. And you were like,
wanna go.
I want to see for myself.
And then you want to ask, why this happened to me? Because of you. You are the problem. Jonah was the problem.
Yeah.
And he después cuando seguimos aquí en la historia, so obviously God sends this like raging sea. They're in the storm and they're in the boat, right? They start asking like all the people around them, they start asking like, hey, what's going on? What's going on? Let's throw everything on the boat. And he's just like straight up like,
Yep.
I hope that this is not about me. Pero cuando ya han tirado everything out of the boat and it's still going on, he's like,
yeah, it's me.
I'm the problem.
Excuse me.
I'm Jonah.
And I have a problem.
I'm the problem. Throw me out and you'll see. ¿Y qué pasa?
They threw him out.
And then it's peaceful.
Everything went back to normal.
But they threw him out, right? And so then un big pez, we don't know what it is. It could be a whale. It could be something else. We don't know. Vino and swallowed him whole.
Giant fish.
Isolated him from everything, even his own will, like his own way, his own like exit plan. And was like, you're about to figure out if you want to do this or not. And so, because regardless, you need to come out. Just like in a digestive perspective.
Like either you gonna get digested or you're gonna let me separate you from everything that is distracting you from all of these outside influences, all of these outside like things. Because imagine if he wasn't close somewhere where he could take a boat, he could have just walked somewhere else. He could have had somebody pay to take him, whatever. It doesn't matter. He had other outside influences help him to get out. But God was like, I'm gonna put you in this giant ass fish and you ain't gonna have a choice. You're gonna sit here. Think about what you did.
Exactly. And think about if you want, when you get out, because you're going to get out.
Yeah.
You're going to get out one way or another. You're going to get out. Think about what you want to do when you get out, right? Think about if you're going to follow this plan or you're going to still run away. And so then he's in there for like 3 days.
3 days. Imagine that was just God's pure like mercy. 3 days you still have not been digested, sir.
Exactly.
Think about it.
Todos
Really think about it.
Del estómago,
exactly.
All the things, like you did not get chewed up, you got swallowed. All of these things. And so then Jonah is in there. He starts praying to God. And in a lot of spots or in a lot of times, nosotros estamos así en situaciones donde we made a mistake and that mistake has caused us to now be isolated from everybody else, from our friends, from our family, from maybe we lost our jobs and so you're now isolated, you're stuck at home because you're jobless.
Yep.
Or cualquier otra cosa happens and now you really have to sit and think. And the only thing that you can run to now is God.
It's God.
Sometimes, a veces a mí me pasa like, I don't pray or I don't read the Bible, whatever. And I hit all the way rock bottom because the one thing about me that I really don't like is that I'm either 100 in or I'm 100 out.
Yeah.
And so when I'm 100 out, I get to these like rock bottom places donde literal my only hope, my only like my only anything is God. And so it's like, did we really have to be here? No, we didn't. We could have avoided all of this. Yep. Jonah could have avoided all of this, but he didn't. No, so now he's stuck. He's stuck in this fish all by himself. Okay, God says, all right, it seems like you got it together now. I'm going to let you out. Go do what I told you to do.
Yep.
And he does. If we continue to read the story, Jonah gets angry because he's doing what God told him to do, which was a hard thing. Remember, he was going to preach to wicked people. And so he's doing the thing, but everybody hates him.
Of course.
Everybody wants to kill him. Everybody wants to do this. And every single time that he's doing it, anda renegando. He gets so mad. En la Biblia, Jonah es una de las personas que la Biblia dice de que se enojó tantas veces. Se enojó y se enojó y se enojó. But he still had to do what he had to do, right? A veces en la vida nosotros también pasamos por situaciones donde like, okay, we got to rock bottom. We're like, all right, Lord, come on. Like, if you do this solid for me, like, I promise you I'm going to go to church. I promise you I'm going to read the Bible. I promise you blah, 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 blah. And so then, Dios te saca de ahí. Te dice que, like, tú todavía tienes que seguir los planes que yo tengo para ti. You do it, pero vas renegando.
Of course.
Right? Like, but this is hard. But Lord, like, what? Nobody's listening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Y pasamos a la vida así. But it's like, are you trying to go back to the fish?
Is that what you want? Do you really want to go back there? Like, keep pushing it. Like, don't worry about everything else. You just go do what I told you to go do.
Exactly. And do it like in a really good way. Do it like with a really good attitude. Mira
Not
Moses.
renegando, not like you're arrastrando los pies, you know, you're dragging your feet to go get this done. Like, do it wholeheartedly, not half-heartedly.
Exactly. Look at Moses and the people of Israel. God told them that he was going to take them to like this good land donde fluye leche y miel. Ok, vamos pues. Mira los milagros que ha hecho Dios en el camino. Open up the Red Sea. Les da manna from the sky.
He even provided water from a rock.
Water
He
from a
gave
rock.
them-
Nube que los seguía. Fire que los seguía.
So they
all
wouldn't
of
be
these
cold
things.
during the night in the desert.
Y
They
cada
wouldn't
vez
be
que there was
hot.
like una little like...
Inconvenience.
Thank you. Inconvenience. ¿Qué es lo que se ponían a hacer? A renegar.
Oh yeah, they had complaints for everything. Oh, thank you for providing us like bread from the heavens. Well, now I'm tired of bread. Like, we don't want this anymore. Like, oh well,
Can we switch up the menu?
we have water now. Well, now we're too tired. We don't want to move.
Yeah.
We're gonna stay right here.
¿Y qué pasó? Por 40 años. Un road trip que would have taken probably like unos cuantos días. Quizás a lo mucho un mes.
Yep.
Turned out 40 years.
40 years. Yep.
40 years. Dando vuelta en la misma montaña. Dando vuelta en el mismo lugar. Dando vuelta until somebody came up and was like, you know what? I'm tired of this. Actually, what happened to that land? I want to go to that one, you know? And it's like, sometimes like that's us. Like, let's stop. Let's stop detouring ourselves from getting to where God has called us. Because the detour is not, it wasn't God who detoured you. That was you. You made that decision. You know, antes de empezar el podcast, we usually have a conversation about lo que vamos a hablar. And you mentioned Joseph, right? You were like, oh, like, yeah, like Joseph. And that was a detour. And I was like, hold up. That wasn't.
Yeah, when his brothers threw him into the well and they sold him off to the Egyptians.
Yeah, that wasn't a detour for Joseph. And that's the thing. Que algunos de nosotros también pensamos de que nada más because we go through hard situations, que those are detours. O que eso no es parte del plan que Dios tiene para mí.
Yeah.
Porque Él me dijo que iba a ser un buen plan. You know what I mean?
He said it would be a great plan, but he didn't say it was going to be an easy plan.
Exactly. And what a great plan for him, it could be completely different from the plan that you might have for yourself.
Yeah.
You might think that the plan, like the journey to this destination, va a ser like super like smooth, like una calle recién hechita, or like, you know what, it's all
It's going to be a straight road.
It's gonna be like all like sandy beaches, oh, the sun and the skies and all the things. And God was like, wait, hold up. Who told you that was the plan? I was actually thinking more like Rocky Mountains.
Yeah.
And off-roading and you know what I mean? Extreme weather. Cosas así, like,
yeah.
That's the plan that I was thinking. Because in that plan, I'm developing your character.
Exactly.
In that plan, you're getting life skills that you will need for that destination
That is going to
I'm
prepare
taking
you to where you're trying to go.
Versus if I let you walk in that sandy beach, if I let it be like super smooth, no issues, whatever, you probably have learned nothing.
You will probably get there the same way that you started, which may not even be suitable for the place that you're trying to get to.
Exactly. So there's differences
Yeah.
in the sense of Joseph. Was it a rocky road to get where he needed to get to, which was Egypt, and you know, be with Pharaoh and show him what his dreams meant, and then to be a rescue for his family? Was the road to get there, was it easy? Absolutely not. He was put in this will. They told his dad that he had died. And then they sell him for a couple of like silvers, whatever things. And then he's sent over there. He's a slave. He gets thrown in jail for some situation. So along the way, you will think, eso no son los planes de Dios.
Yeah. Because he went through a lot of uncertain things that he was like, how in the world can this be part of God's plan? What does God want me to accomplish being somebody's slave? What does God want me to accomplish running somebody's household for nothing, for me to be blamed for something that was not even my fault, but because I don't really have anybody here to back me up except Lord himself, but nobody else believes me. I just gotta deal with it. How can this be part of God's plan?
Exactly.
But all of those things, everything that he went through, everything that he had to face, took him to where he needed to go.
Yeah,
it may not have been easy
to be in that spot
because
that he was.
Everything that he went through, like he wasn't just doing them. He even took extra steps to try to better himself. He learned how to write. He learned how to read different languages. He learned how to manage a household. He learned how to like people skills, like that's one of the main things that people ask for in jobs when they interview you. Are you good with people? Do you know how to socialize? Do you have customer service experience? And all of these things he didn't have while he was with his father.
Exactly.
He learned it while he was going through everything that he was going through, all the trials and tribulations, all the jobs that he went through, all the being a slave, all of these things ended up being useful where he was going with the Pharaoh.
Yeah.
So
then it's like that wasn't a detour because he did not make those decisions for himself. He did not say, hey brothers, can y'all sell me to like become a slave? He didn't say all that. He didn't go out in the wild and was like, I'm gonna make this decision to make a mistake and become a slave.
That's not a life he wanted for himself. He didn't choose to be a slave.
Exactly. It was something that was chosen for him. But so then that tells me that was part of God's plan. Was it ideal for a person? Was it ideal for Joseph in that moment? Absolutely not. Is it ideal for you to go through some certain situations de que quizás tú no tuviste control de eso? Quizás somebody was being abusive to you, right? Quizás that's like a parent or somebody de que tú no tuviste la oportunidad to choose. Because a parent, you don't get to choose who's your parent. And so quizás you're going through like, you know what, they're attacking me like maybe not physically, maybe it could be like emotionally, maybe they're not there for you, maybe that has caused some insecurities in you, maybe that has caused different things, and you're like, ¿cómo este va a ser el plan de Dios? But that's something that you did not get to choose. So then I would think, as hard as it sounds, and I know that this is not a rainbow and butterflies conversation, pero quizás ese es el plan.
We may not understand it. We may not see the outcome or the end, but when we do get there and we look back, we're like, that's why I had to go through that.
Exactly.
That's why I had to be where I needed to be.
One of my favorite songs, I think it's called, I don't know what it's called. And I think it's by Mercy Me.
Sing it.
Absolutely not.
Go ahead.
Mess up. No.
Go sing it. Sing it.
Dice, no. Lo voy a decir. No lo voy a cantar. It says something like, one day I'll stand before you and look back at the life I've lived. I can't wait to enjoy the view and see how all the pieces of the puzzle fit. And to me, that, when I heard that song, that hit home. To where like forever in my life, this will be like kind of like an anthem because I have gone through certain situations where some of it has been detours. Some of the situations that I've gone through is because of mistakes, because of bad decisions that I made when I was younger, even when I'm older. And then there's other ones donde like I had no control and things happened to me and that was like in the control of other people. But I'm not saying like, yes, I want to live a life of suffering. That's not what I'm about, Lord. Please don't get it twisted. That is not the plan that I would like for you to have for me. But I also know that there's one day where I'm going to be standing before the Lord. Please, Jesus. I think that he's going to give us the He's gonna give us the opportunity to look back at our lives and be like, yeah, pasé por esto porque lo necesitaba aquí.
Yep.
Pasé por esto porque lo necesité aquí.
All the pieces fit.
All the and all of
And then
this was
you
part
won't
of your
even-
plan, Lord.
Uh-huh.
Got it.
And
makes
then
sense
eventually
now.
you will be able to see the full puzzle picture.
Yeah.
And you're going to be like, yep, that makes
That
sense.
makes sense for my life. Yep. All right, we're gonna move on to Am I the Asshole story. Talking about detours. You ready for this one, Emily?
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Okay. So the title for this one is Am I the Asshole for Building a Fence and Blocking My Neighbors from the Road, Forcing Them to Take a Massive Detour?
If the fence is in your property, you're not the asshole. But if the fence is in like public street, dude,
Yeah.
come on
that's
now.
different.
Come on. We're going to call the HOA, aren't you? All right.
Okay. Okay, so it says, so I am the owner of a large house with a huge property surrounding it. When I bought my property 5 years ago, I basically lived at least 5 minutes away from the nearest house.
Oh, wow.
However, the villages and towns have been expanding, and as a result, started developing houses next to my property. I was fine with it. Nothing I could do about it to begin with, but my property is big enough not to really notice to begin with, or so I assumed. It's good to mention I basically pulled out a bunch of trees when I moved here and made a dirt road with gravel of sorts to allow me easy access to the main road nearby instead of driving all the way around to access the main road. Well, soon after people started moving in to the houses, I noticed people basically use my little road to access the main road nearby, and kids used my field to play football. I was pretty much okay with it because it wasn't bothering me or inconveniencing me.
Okay.
Until a few months later, that was. Basically, whenever people had a party or a gathering, I noticed my road and the field which they drove over was full of cars. And a few weeks later, some people started straight up using it as a parking area.
Oh, no.
I had multiple talks with multiple people, and the results range from apologetic people moving their cars to aggressive people who told me to go F myself. I finally had enough and started getting cars towed, which led to people yelling at my girlfriend in particular. As such, I built a large stone fence around my entire property. Well, multiple neighbors, including the aggressive ones, were all apologetic.
Oh, all of a sudden.
And
Okay.
asked me to remove the fence and how sorry they were for using it, as they basically had to add 15 to 20 minutes to their travel time.
Nah, keep that same
to-
energy.
to work without my shortcut. I told them to go F themselves and to get the F off my property. And if I saw them there again, I'd be letting my dogs loose. However, this is also impacting the nice neighbors. So I am conflicted.
No.
Am I the asshole?
I don't think so. Overall, I don't think he is. Because at the end of the day, it's your property.
Yep.
You paid
He pays-
money
yep,
for this property. You did the road by yourself. You didn't ask for help. You didn't do any of that. You allowed people to like use your road. You allowed people to like, kids to use your field for football, whatever.
Yeah.
You allowed all these things.
Like, he was nice enough, He wasn't straight up like, get off my property.
Exactly. Like it wasn't like a fight. You were like, all right, cool, like whatever, like no me quita, like está bien. But when you start acting crazy
Yeah.
over and you're like in other people's property or in other people's things, nah. Get up
Now
out of
it's
here.
a different story.
Y desafortunadamente a veces los santos pagan por los pecadores.
Yep.
So I'm sorry, pero si tú vas a hacer con uno, tenés que ser con todos.
Yeah.
I mean, no tenés, porque at the end of the day, it's his property.
Yeah.
But what you gonna do? Hire a security person to be like, are you a nice neighbor? Okay, you can go in. Are you one of those that told me to go with myself? Nah, go at another.
See,
do
to
a
me,
detour.
look, if he was like, I bought this house, I bought the property surrounding this house.
Yeah.
So this is my land, my property, my house, whatever. I can do whatever the heck I want because this
Exactly.
is my area. if you are going to come into this area where I'm living, where I don't own everything around me. I only own what is mine.
Yeah.
But you're coming into my area and trying to build other houses, then it's your responsibility, as it is mine that I decided to build the fence. It is your responsibility as I put a gravel road for me to get easy access in and out of my house. You can do the same for your own place. You don't need to take advantage of what I have built.
No, because they're developers. Those houses are from developers. He bought it way before that was even done. So his situation is completely different from the other neighbors. If they don't have that access that he has.
If they all have an issue with it, then they all need to come together and they need to come find a solution to come in and out of this area, because he shouldn't have to deal with that just because they want to come in and develop land there.
Of
you know
course,
what I mean?
he doesn't have to deal with it. But what you're saying is that like they should make their own road just like he did his. That is completely different. They can't do that because their houses were not built. Es como que si tú vas a comprar como land ahorita, digamos que tú vas a comprar un terreno. Tú puedes hacer y deshacer en ese terreno como tú quieras. Pero digamos, like, if they start building houses like these, like aquí, because when a developer comes in, this is what it looks like, right? Like a regular neighborhood. Como yo voy a decir, ¿sabes qué? Porque aquí yo compré esta land, de aquí a esa calle de allá, I'm going to make my own straight street. You can't do that.
Not unless they own it.
Even if you own it, I cannot do that. I own this house. I cannot say that I'm going to create a street for myself. There's like, I have to go through the city. I have to go through the HOA. And even then they're going to be like, nah, homie. You know what I mean? I can't say like, hey, no quiero ese bayuco ahí. Ay, me voy a hacer una calle directamente para el 90. I cannot do that. So it's like, you can't, those neighbors do not have that same authority or access that this other guy has. Y por eso mismo they should have thought about what they did. Like, you know, and not be like that. Like, if you're apologetic, okay, está bien. O sabes que vas a tener un party, like, hey, neighbor, I'm having a party. Because I live like in one of these houses, I only have X amount of parking spots. Can I use your space?
That would have been like such an easy thing to do, but they just, some of them, right, not all of them, they decided to be just aggressive and assholes about it. They were like, well, you've been letting us use it so far, like, what's the issue? If you don't have a problem, then you can't have a problem in the future. Clearly they were wrong.
Clearly. Exactly.
They underestimated
now
him.
You messed up for you and for everybody
else. Yep.
Yeah, ahora, all of a sudden, even the aggressive ones, you want to say, I'm sorry, cry me a river. Nah, homie. Keep the same energy that you did when you told my girlfriend. And then the fact that they told the girlfriend, to me, that's even more of a like jerk move. ¿Por qué? Because es mujer, tú pensaste que ella no te iba a decir nada.
Ooh.
Porque es mujer, tú pensaste que she wasn't going to do anything
walk all
about
over
it.
her. Yep.
All right.
You messed with the wrong one.
You messed with the wrong one. I love that saying.
I know, you say it all the time.
All right, so we got some comments here, which OP replies to. So let's see what they say.
Alrighty, so this one says, not the asshole, your property, your rules.
Bam.
Also, if you didn't do this, you could potentially have ended up giving them a right-of-way easement without realizing it, depending on your local laws.
Ooh.
Don't budge. Leave the fence. Maybe they'll think in the future about asking permission in the future instead of forgiveness.
Ooh, yes.
I didn't. The right-of-way applies if they need my property to access their own. They can all leave their property as my house is next to the road, not any houses.
Okay.
Okay. And then it says, what the other person was saying is that you were in danger of creating a legal right-of-way across your property by allowing your neighbors to use that shortcut. If you allow it for too long, not only do you lose the right to block it off, you also become liable for its maintenance and any injuries or accidents that occur due to lack of it. And then OP says, glad I blocked it off then.
Literally, sometimes the internet is a good place, you see?
See
you
it?
get some legal advice.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. So this one says, not the asshole. This was the right call. Invite the nice neighbors and their kids over for a nice barbecue once it's safe to do so. You can totally find ways to be friendly without letting the crap neighbors take advantage of you or put you in a bad legal situation. Congrats on the new fence. It'll be the best neighbor I'll be the best neighbor you ever have.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That is true though. Like
See, that's a good thing to do, where like, oh, okay, well, since you were a good neighbor, I can invite you over
Exactly.
on my terms. Come bring your kids, sure, but you come in and you go whenever I say.
Yeah.
And let me make sure that you
Yeah.
know and you fully understand that.
Yeah.
You know, I think that was like definitely good advice.
Yeah, I think so,
Because I
too.
bet you OP wasn't even thinking about the legal repercussions.
Oh no! I mean, I didn't even think about
Me
it.
neither. Me
I
neither.
didn't think that
Until they said that.
Yeah, like you could build something and then like people start using it, and all of a sudden it becomes something like with law involved,
Where it's like you're
or,
responsible.
Like
Anything
te
that
quitaron tus
happens there.
derechos o lo que sea. Like what? You just gave them away, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
Crazy. All right. So with that being said, Emily, do you have any last words for the people?
I would just say, you know, as we were talking through the different scenarios in the Bible that people went through, when you go through these detours, don't get discouraged. You know, Moses and the Israelites, they went through 40 years of a detour. You know, Moses went through his whole basically like adulthood through this detour. So it might seem hard, it might seem like there's no way out, and you just can't seem to get to where you're trying to go. But the best thing to do is just keep looking forward and don't look back. Because if you keep on looking back, you know, like me, where I kept on trying to be like, but I can save money, or I can use it for this, or da 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 da.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, well, I can actually see the outcome. I can see what me getting a new car is going to save me in the future. I kept looking back, but I can do this and this and this and this. I could have literally saved myself so much time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But because I kept looking back and I kept doubting myself, I ended up being stuck in this position for like, I don't know, how many years has it been now? Like 4 or 5 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. So always look forward. Don't look back.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Detours are detours for a reason. It doesn't mean that you're going to be stuck there. It just means you're going to be delayed from getting to where you're trying to go, to your final destination. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Especially, I mean, I know for sure, like in all the detours that I have done, I felt some disappointment in myself.
Oh, for sure.
I felt like the worst person ever. Even when I'm in my rock bottoms, you know, moments, when I'm in the desert moments, I feel like I'm the worst person ever. Like I'm no longer like a daughter of the King of Kings. Like I'm kicked out of heaven. Well, all the things. And you know, yes, as humans, okay, feel what you need to feel, but in your spirit, you also have to remind yourself that, again, nada más porque tú hiciste un mistake, nada más porque tú you missed the exit, you know, you made a detour, lo que sea, that doesn't mean de que el plan de Dios que tiene para tu vida que ya no está allí. That doesn't mean that. It means that just get it together. All right, te va a tomar longer, but he still has that plan for you.
Yeah.
He's still there for you. Even in the detour, he's still gonna ride with you. He's still in that journey with you. Now you have to fully trust him. You have to fully, you know, estar como in sync with him in order to be a fast, you know, a fast journey or an easy journey or algo más ligero. But continue to push through. It doesn't matter how many times you messed up.
Yeah.
The plan is still the same. He still has good plans for your life.
Yeah.
And so that is it for today's podcast, you guys. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.